please do. Please leave your camera on if you are comfortable doing so. Now, we ask that normally because it's so much more beneficial for the speaker to be able to talk to a group of faces instead to just a group of black squares with white writing in it. Tonight, though, it's actually more important to keep your cameras on because there are going to be breakout sessions where you get to be part of the action. You get to practice your improv. You get to break out with somebody and actually do the exercises and have some fun improving on your own. Who's ready to do some improv? That did not get nearly the response I was hoping for. Who's ready for some improv tonight? Outstanding. So if you are comfortable at all leaving your camera on, I encourage you to please leave your camera on this evening. It will make the process so much easier, especially if you're in a breakout room, because if you're in a breakout room with somebody else who has their camera off, it is going to be a really awkward improv. Kind of like wandering around in the dark. Are they actually there or are they not? So tonight is going to be part about practice and part about process. We're so looking forward to that. Then when we go into Mass Speaker this evening, we will take about a 10-minute bio break between Pat's presentation and when we get into Mass Speaker. Give everyone a chance to go refill their drink, Mark Mandel, to go freshen up a beverage, to maybe come back and then get ready to join us for a fun-filled, abbreviated Mass Speaker Junior Edition tonight. So without wasting any more time getting started with this, who's ready to hear some improv this evening? Anybody ready for this?
Yes.
Ooh, all right. Oh, Pat Dwyer really needs no introduction if you're his mom, but fortunately, you're not his mom. So we thought we'd give you a little bit of a context before he takes over. Pat Dwyer is a professional speaker, comedian, an improviser, a trainer, a facilitator, a writer, a traveler, a high-five and goofball who wants you to know that he wrote this intro for himself by himself. Pat also seems to love to use his full name whenever speaking about himself in the third person, or so says Pat Dwyer. Truthfully, though, Pat has worked, toured, performed, and taught with comedic institutions. The Second City in Chicago, IO Theater, Comedy Sports for over 20 years. He has spearheaded leadership teams at some of the great Chicago tech startups like Groupon and SMS Assist. And he has taken a key culture, creative, and leadership consultant throughout. Pat is even a junior park ranger at over 60 national parks, sites, and monuments around the US. That sounds cool until you find out that the junior park ranger program is reserved for 5 to 12 years old, and Pat got his after he was 25, which sounds like a speech in and of itself, I think. You can visit Pat at any time, not at his home because that would be creepy, but at patdwyerwastaken.com because, well, it was. But for now, and without further ado, give it up for my friend and your friend to be, the one, the only, the incomparable Pat Dwyer.
Hello, my friends. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you tonight. Hello. Thank you for all being here. Thank you for coming and joining us for this delightful endeavor into stupidity, which, you know what, let's just break it down. That's going to be what this is. We are also going to have a great opportunity to work on the key elements of speaking and the key elements of getting into a relationship with your audience. So I'm going to teach you some of those things that we can use improv for to get to that place tonight. But before we do, you know what? I think we should just dive right in. Let's play our first game. I'm going to put my pen down because it's time for our games. So the way that this game is going to work is that this is called Cameras On. What a funny game that is. I mean, you'll never guess what it's about. So the game Cameras On is like this. So in the chat feature, I think we all know how Zoom works. God, I hope we all know how Zoom works at this point. If you don't know how Zoom works, don't worry about it. If you have that chat feature and you have that ability, go ahead and go into your chat and select just me. So you're going to find my name and just select me, because what I want you to do is start sending me things that you like. And it can be things that, because it's just me, I'm going to keep this private. I'm not going to say who it is. It's going to be, you know, if you like, let's say, for instance, you like baseball, great, put that in the chat. If you like In Sync, it'll stay between the two of us, but you can leave that in the chat room, and we will I'm going to use that. So here's the way that this game is going to work. You are going to turn your camera on if you like the thing that I'm going to say. So for instance, if I said coffee, you would put your camera on if you like coffee, right? Great. If I said kittens, and some of us don't like kittens, you're going to go ahead and turn your camera off if you don't like kittens. Great. And so we'll just keep going back and forth. And I'm just going to list the things that your peers have put out here for you in front of you. So for instance, leave your camera on if you like giraffes. Giraffes. Go ahead and put your camera on if you like giraffes. Let's see if we get anybody to drop out here. Oh, got a couple coming on now. Oh, somebody left. Take that, giraffes, you stupid long-necked jerks. Great. Let's see. We got, how about whiskey? Put your camera on if you like whiskey. Yep, some people dropping out, some people coming. Oh, wow, lots. Okay, everybody eats whiskey. Noted. How about this? What if you like napping? Napping, taking a nap. Oh, lots of cameras coming on now. Oh, I like this. This is people of my own heart. Let's see, we've got pajamas. You know, along the same lines, pajamas. Pajamas, yeah. Ooh, I like it. I like it. What about, oh, here's one that I've genuinely never had. Toast. Leave it on if you like toast. Who likes toast? Yep, not toast masters, different animal, just toast. Butter, jam, perhaps just toast. Good for you guys. Yeah, toast. It's like the most anticlimactic and massive like climactic thing at the same time. It's amazing. Similarly, how about Chipotle? Who likes Chipotle? Leave your camera on if you like some Chipotle. If you don't, oh, lots of people went off. Some people came on, some people went off. I like it. Here we go. We're going to get a little bit more into the business side of the world. How about investing in stocks? How about that? Who likes investing in stocks? I'm not going to say who put that, but whoever you are deeply charismatic, I'm sure. Deeply charismatic. Great. Okay, let's get something everybody likes. How about well, it is Indiana. How about basketball? How about that action? Who likes basketball? Wow, surprising. Only about half the cameras. Yeah, I'll take that. I like this one. Quicksand. Also another one I've never gotten before. Quicksand. Who likes quicksand? Nobody likes quicksand. Well, what about the kind of quicksand when you're on stage and everybody hates you? What about that quicksand? No? Okay. How about this? What do we got here? We have medieval combat. You guys are in a very special place. I'm going to say that. There's somebody wrote medieval combat. Very special group of crazies here. How about this? Dogs. Let's just go right into dogs. Who likes dogs? Leave that camera on, huh? Pop that camera on if you like dogs. There we go. Now we're back to, and you know, just now that we've had a couple of people join, so I'm just curious. Giraffes. Who hates giraffes? I'm going to change it up. Turn your camera off if you hate giraffes. If you like them, you leave it on. That's good. You know what? Ironically, about the same amount of people and the same amount of the one person turned their camera back off just to let me know how much they hate giraffes. I hate you, giraffes, you stupid giraffes. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause, a huge round of applause there for you, my friends. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. So everybody hang tight. This is going to get weird. How do I do this? Why is it not working? It is, oh, here we are, advanced. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my ability to point and click on my screen. Here we are, friends. I'm so sorry. Can you all see my screen? Wonderful. Everything's going great. Okay, hold on one sec. Okay, I'm at this point, I just flummoxing around here. So hold on one sec. All right, can you all see my screen now?
Yep.
Yay, perfect. Okay, wonderful. So here's what we're going to do tonight. We are going to look at a huge improvement, lessons from improv comedy for you guys, for stagecraft, on stage presence, and things like this. Now, certainly this is a conversation that I have with people all over the country, some Toastmasters, some NSA, things like that. But it is special for you because you guys are going to be creating a lot of the interactions tonight. So that having been said, let's talk about some of the rules for improv. The rules for improv are very important. So for starters, when it comes to improv, these rules are for any improv scene you would ever do, or any improv game you will ever play, or anything along those lines. The number one rule is yes and. So let's talk about that for a second. The game and the rules behind yes and are as follows. So in order for anything to move forward, just like kids on the playground, you have to say yes to continue your make-em-ups. So if you are a kid on the playground and one of the kids goes, no, the whole game stops. Nothing can move on. Not too dissimilar to improv. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Say yes. And so, and builds on the idea that your partner had, and you make it even bigger than it was before. Now, number two, is that there are no mistakes at all. And by that, I mean that no matter what you say will be correct, because your partner is going to say yes and make it correct. So even if you pass out, it's probably the right thing to do. Perfect. Now be fully present. And by that, I mean turn cameras on, but that I also mean listen and be in the moment and listen to your partner. And let's just have that larger conversation as we go. Be generous to your partner. Give them an opportunity to give to you as much as you would like to give to them, so that you guys can go back and forth. If one person is playing too much, it ends very badly. And then finally, go for it. You have friends, I'm going to encourage you to just jump right in. Absolutely. So now I'm going to stop my sharing because we're going to go back into a room. We're going to split you guys up into groups of 2. So those of you who don't have your cameras on, this is the part where it's going to get real awkward. Good luck. But we're going to break you up into rooms, and we're going to play a game called But No Yes. And the way that this works is you guys are going to have a conversation back and forth, person 1 to person 2. Person 1 is going to say whatever they say. For instance, I really like cats. I would suggest that you do use a declaratory statement as the first thing out of the gate, but say anything that you'd like. The person is going to respond with, but, and then respond with whatever they're going to say. So they're going to start with the word but. Then the first person is going to respond, but, and then take off from there. Everything that is said back and forth has to start with but. Then after you do that a couple times, and I'll go around and I'll check in on some rooms here and there, I want you to switch to no. So after you do that about 5 or 6 times, see what it feels like. Switch to just saying no and see where that takes you. Try to tell a story with each other. Try to pretend you're different people if you feel like it, or just have a conversation. Then after all that, I want you to say yes. And so go back and forth and say yes, and then continue your conversation. So we're going to go back and forth and back and forth. Are there any questions before we move on?
No.
No. Oh, one person. I love it. Thank you. Great.
Yes.
So Scott, you looked like you were scared for a second.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your personal life or it's that. Oh, okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and break into those groups right now. If you want to handle that, we're going to send you away. Goodbye, my friends. We'll see you in a couple minutes. And there's everybody.
All right, how do we get into rooms?
Well, you guys can go, we can make rooms for you, or you guys could just do it here in front of me. That's fine. It doesn't bother me at all.
I'm going to go join Nancy. She's by herself. Or I'm going to go join Dave. So I'm going to go join Nancy, who's by herself.
I tried to
a Zoom
keep people
feature?
from being.
I'm
As a
join
co-host,
Dave.
you can
So I'm
join
going to go
in.
join Nancy in room 3.
All right, I'm going to go join another room as well then.
Someone gonna join. Let's see.
I'll join with Nancy.
Okay. Looks like everybody else is too. So we're good.
Here's Dave. Somebody could join Dave here. Hi, Dave. What's up, man? Oh, okay. Got it. Yep. Fair enough. I'm gonna hop into a couple rooms just for fun. So I'll be back, my friends.
Okay.
Welcome back, my friends. How are you? Hello. Good. So some of you might be able to unmute. I don't know if they have the ability to unmute. Do they have the ability to unmute? They do. Okay. So if you'd like to unmute and talk to us about what you found and like how it was different or easy, you go ahead and raise your hand and I'll just call on you. It might be a little bit easier. And by raise your hand, I mean, there's a little button you can raise your hand. Again, if you don't know Zoom at this point, friends, like, come on, like it's been 2 years of a pandemic. Like, did you do, what do you do for work? I mean, so Alan, you've got your hand up. Alan, can you talk to us about what you found and what you liked?
Well, we developed a good rapport, and particularly with the but. You could use expressions with but and then something and then but and back and forth, but it wasn't quite as clear how to be working with no and yes.
I see. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, just sidebar, you should always have a good relationship with the butt. Anyways, so that having been said, I think that the word but and the word no are very interesting animals, right? When you say no, you're telling somebody that their idea is just not good. It's just actively not good. The thing with but is it's a little bit of a gray, but let's talk about why. So it is a gray only because you're saying, I hear your idea, but I think mine's better and mine actually will be better. Hold on a second, buckle up. So you're not actually agreeing with anything. You're just telling them to shut up in a minute instead of shut up right now. So that is the problem with but when you're having a personal conversation, when you are networking, when you are out in the world, when you're having conversations with your audience. For instance, if you're doing a speech or speaking and you have to call on the audience and talk to the audience and they say something, yeah, oh, great idea. But let me tell you why I'm better than you. And then you put on your big boy pants and you walk out. That isn't going to be as helpful as saying, yes, what a wonderful idea. Here's the other part of that. Or listen to this bit too. You know, so that will be a way to get your audience involved and keep your audience involved. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here just for a second, because I want to keep going through this ridiculous presentation. Now, with the reasons why people laugh in general, we know this from comedy, from the science of comedy, and surprisingly enough, there is a massive amount of data to show what is and what isn't funny. Scientific America a few years ago, for instance, put in a larger study that talked about people laugh because of relief. So for instance, you're leading them in a direction, you change that direction, and that is surprise, or you lead them in that direction and you meet their expectations, which is that relief. The other reason that they laugh is superiority. It's either inclusion or exclusion. So they laugh because they get something that you're saying and they agree with it, or they get it because they want to be part of the cool club. So often you'll see a comedian who's very smart and says something very intelligent, and then it's certainly not me, but others. And you would hear them and you go, oh yeah, right? You guys know on either side, because you don't want to be the guy who's left out or the gal who's left out not doing the laughing. Now, from this quote here, do keep in mind that when you are on stage in your voice, you are very palpable. But the way that if you are a musician to play music, the way that you speak, the way that you tell jokes can never be replicated by another person, because you are powerful, and the way that you sing and the music that you make is unique unto you. So there are comedians that I would never be able to tell their jokes. I can actually tell you that quite potently, that there are lots of comedians that I cannot tell their jokes, but they can tell them and they can get away with stuff that I simply can't. The only thing you do, and I do want to recommend to you, is create a space with your audiences that you do not challenge them to fight. And what does that mean? That means that you're not going to put yourself in a position or put them in a position where they're questioning what is happening. They're questioning what's going on. They're wondering why you don't know what you're saying. So for instance, if I were to say something like, guys, is that right? If I ask that question, all of a sudden you're wondering if it is right, versus saying, hey, this is how this is. Isn't this a fun journey we're all on? Similarly, you could go out and put yourself in a position where you're waiting for the audience to give you reaction. If you do that without that control, that's asking for them to give you permission to do that. That is challenging them to give you to say to you, forget it, you're an idiot, and get off my stage. And they will do that. They love it. They love it. It's like the gladiators. It's exactly what it is. Now, I do want to give you some hints in regards to what we could be doing. So for instance, I call them the 3Z rules. So the way the 3Z rules work is that there are a few ways to construct your programs to help you reach your audience and do some comedy. So for instance, the rule of threes, some of you may have heard of this. This is a very big deal in the world of comedy. Things come in threes. Everything comes in threes. So we have a joke, a reminder of that joke, and then the third time that happens. That always should live in and of itself. A callback, on the other hand, is saying something that you brought in at the beginning, you're going to say again later towards the end. And people get so excited because they feel like they're on the in crowd. They feel like they're part of the team. And then finally, if you want to really make somebody giggle, if you want to really make somebody laugh, if you really want to connect with them on an emotional level, move your emotion to an 11 instead of just an 8 or a 9. If you boost your emotion, they will inevitably be more involved in what you're saying. That is all there is to it. But that being said, nobody wants to do it. So let's go back to a game. There's so much more fun anyways, my friends. So we are going to do a game called First Word, Last Word. So this is again going to be a groups of 2. The way that this game is going to work is that you guys are going to split up and you're going to have a conversation, and whatever is the last word that your partner says is going to start your next sentence. So for instance, if I were to say, I'm going to go to the store and buy some broccoli, the person would respond with, broccoli is for losers or giraffes in this case, which we've already established. Clear losers, giraffes. That's just a given. So, and then giraffes would be the last line. So you would start your line with, giraffes are wonderful, delightful animals. As long as we are saying yes to each other and moving on, which that was not a great example of. Nevertheless, we are going to break into those breakout rooms now. Friends, I'll see you in a couple minutes. We're going to get right into it. Are we ready? Yep, we are. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye, 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 my friends. Goodbye, 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 my friends. Oh, people are still here. That's right. Welcome back, everybody. How are you? How are you? How was it? Was it delightful? Was it fun? Was it ridiculous? I hope it was all those things. Would anybody like to raise their hand and tell us about your experiences? Tell us what you found. Tell us what made it fun, what made it hard. And then I'm going to tell you a trick about it. Anybody at all? Somebody's raising their hand. Oh, yes. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Pat, so that was very difficult. It's having to think, it doesn't feel natural in that conversation. You got a little more comfortable, but it's very unnatural to have that type of conversation.
You want to know the weird part about this, friends, is that we often stop listening to each other very quickly. So for instance, I think we all can agree we just don't listen to Mark. Great, moving on. But for instance, if you're having a conversation with somebody, as soon as you get the information that you need, you're stop listening and you start working on the next thing you're going to say. Can you imagine if we actually listen not only to each other, but how and why we're saying things, the emotion behind why we're saying stuff? If you could use these skills to have a conversation with your spouse or your significant other, you know how many less fights you have? I can tell you very, very emphatically that you can A, get out of fights, and B, keep them from happening by just having a conversation. Now, Kathy, I saw you raise your hand before. Did you have something to add?
I want to see you try to start a sentence with the word beholder. That was so hard.
I think the only way to do that would be to become go back to the medieval LARPing that we were talking about before, the beholder unto thee, and then you sneeze and then you go back into regular English.
I think I said beholder is a very hard word to start a sentence with.
Behold her or behold him, really. I think it's really gendered. I think is really the problem there, is what that ends up being. Now, my friends, I'm going to share my screen again because I want to talk about story structure. Because I know you guys had a story guy last night. For those of you who were able to attend the story last night, these in front of you are a couple different ways that in Western culture we tell stories. So Cinderella A, you'll see she discovers her shoes, she loses the prince, and then she gets him back. Right? Cinderella B, she's slowly growing up to be better and better and better. She meets the fairy godmother. She goes to which is the top of that stairwell. This is in green, by the way, if you are wondering. She gets to the top. She gets to go to the ball, and then midnight. Everything stops, and then she gets to climb out of that hole, which actually leads us to Man in Hole, which is a different story structure altogether. Now you'll be able to see these and realize there are movies that you've seen that are these. There are stories that you've read that are these. Now, these are the Western culture go-tos. But for every culture around the planet, for every way that a story is told, these change drastically. But also know that they also change based on your history and your backing and where you're from and how your parents told you stories, things like that, or parents or guardians or whomever. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break into groups of, I think it's like 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, I think is what we've got. So I think we're going to break into groups of about 7-ish. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, I want you to start, you're all going to have kind of different structures. So I want you to figure out what order you're all going to go in and rearrange your screens. But I want you to go down the line, and you're each going to tell one word in a story that you're all going to create all together. So it's going to start with somebody who's going to say once upon a time, and then you're going to take off from there and just keep going. Next person in line says the next word. Okay. And when you're done with the sentence, sentences are okay to stop. So you don't have to say and, you don't have to say and then comma, just stop and start a new sentence. It's totally fine. Not a big deal. There is no right, there is no wrong. Make sure you use those listening skills as if you're talking to somebody and hearing that whole line. It's a little bit more difficult because we are talking one word at a time, but I'll tell you what, our brains are capable. So go ahead, let's split everybody up into those rooms of 7, and we will see you in a few minutes. Oh, wait. Friends, welcome back. How are you? How are you? That was, from what I saw, slightly more challenging, just due to tech issues. And that, hey, good for you guys for keep rolling. I like that. I kept checking back in and saw everybody pulling their hair out slowly. So this, friends, this is what happens. I do this all the time, and this is what happens. You see? Come on now. Now, what was it fun at least? Did you guys have some fun? Did you find the fun when you got in there? Great, perfect, lovely, wonderful. Okay, so you know what, I want to get you guys back into these improv games as fast as I can. So in all honesty, we only got about 10 minutes left anyways. Pat, get to work. I know. So I do want to talk about the fourth wall. Now, this is a theater term, which some of you probably know. I don't know if you guys talk about it in Toastmasters or not. I've never, I actually, I'm a deep-seated outsider. But the fourth wall in a theater is the line between the front of the stage and the audience. Now, the easiest way to extend your fourth wall to the back of your audience, what that does, well, first, sorry, let me go back. The easiest way to do that is to call on somebody in the audience, or just have an interaction with someone in the audience, or to have a moment where they feel included in your presentation. And that's more than yes or yes, which is the lamest crud I've ever heard in my life. Y'all, if you ever do that, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you. Anyways, so yes or yes aside, extending that fourth wall to the back of your house is going to allow your audience to be a part of your conversation and a part of your presentation. More so than just hearing it, they're going to be a part of it. So we are going to play a game now called Because of That. So the way that this works is that we're going to have that conversation. It's sort of like story. It's sort of like some of the other things we had. We're going to break you up into groups of 4. We are going to play the game because of that. And the way that that works is as follows. Now, if I were to say I went to the store and I bought some sugar, great. And then the person responds, because of that, I was able to make Kool-Aid. And then the next person says, because of that, I was able to serve Kool-Aid to the children of the neighborhood. And the next person would say, because of that, all the kids are on a sugar high and every parent hates me. And then you just keep going on and on and on. Because of that is what starts that conversation. Any questions about that before we break in to the next group? Great. So here we go. Goodbye, my friends. I'll see you in a hot minute. And it's going to be pretty tight because we only got about 5 minutes. And then Scott's going to boo me off stage. Boo, Pat. Boo, I say. Oh, welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. Welcome back. How was it? Good? Yay, so much fun. Okay. I love it. I love it. Great. Any comments on that? Any good times, fun times? Anybody want to share something fun that happened? Sure. Go ahead. I got, let's see, Alex. Alex, what do you got there, bud?
So because of that, we are now seeking employment. We're now seeking employment for, we are now seeking a new manager as for our whistling band in Sweden. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
A lot of fun.
That's pretty fun. That's very good. I like that. I like that there's not 2 groups that went to the same place. It's not even possible because you've got different minds. You've got different experiences. You've got different gloriousnesses about you that bring us to these great, wonderful adventures. But also keep in mind that without those other people, those adventures never would have happened. Never would have happened. Now, anybody else had a fun experience in their room? Yes, Thomas. I saw your hand first there, Thomas.
I found out from the 3 other people in my group that they are either really, really interesting people or great liars, because there are some stories came out of that.
I hope it's
an interesting way to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent time. Well, friends, it does bring us towards the end of our conversation today, but I do want to share, I'm going to share my screen one more time here because I want to, let's see if this works. Please work. There we are. So now I do want to remind you that when you are on stage, this is your house. You are in charge in the same way that you can have that because of that conversation. Because of that conversation is technically a speaking program. Everything builds on the next thing. You're taking them on that adventure. You're taking them through your mind into that place. But at no point do you want to take a backtrack and go, well, is it okay? Yeah, of course it's okay. It's your because of that. This is your adventure, my friends. You are in charge and you are wonderful. Now, if you feel, we're going to play one more game here. For this game, we're actually not going to break into any rooms. We're going to stay right where we are. I will need 2 volunteers, so think through that just for a second. In the meantime, if you would like to contact me, if you have any questions about improv, if you have any questions about how this relates to speaking, honestly, write me. Say hi to me. I love it. Social media at I know Pat Dwyer, because now you do. Secondly, PatDwyerWasTaken.com, because we were talking about Florida right before you came in. A horrible person in Florida has taken PatDwyer.com. I recently got it back, friends, but it took me about 10 years. So now my whole business is invested in PatDwyerWasTaken.com. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. I'm going to stop my share so that we can play our game. Now, I do need those 2 volunteers. I need 2 volunteers. Great. So the first 2 hands that I saw are Dave and Deb. Dave and Deb. Great. So Dave and Deb. Now, for this game, everyone's going to have to unmute. Hopefully, it won't get too loud and crazy. Everyone's going to have to unmute, because the way that this game works is that Dave and Deb are going to go back and forth. This game is called Yay Boo. Yay boo. So Dave, we're going to start with you. Dave is going to say something that is positive about this story. So we're going to talk about, let's say we're going to talk about a boy named Bill. A boy named Bill is going to be your story. So Dave would say, Bill got an ice cream, and everybody's going to say, yay. Let me hear it. Everybody.
Yay!
And then Deb is going to say something negative that happened to Bill. So he got an ice cream. Yay. He dripped that ice cream all over himself and he wrecked his suit. Oh, boo. And everybody says boo. Oh, exactly right. So we're going to go back and forth until they can't think of anything to say. And then we're going to switch it up. All right, Dave. So you're going to tell a story about a guy named Bill. And Deb, you're going to respond with boo. So Dave says yay. And everybody says?
Yay!
And Deb says boo. And everybody says?
Yay!
Lovely. Okay, Dave, take it away whenever you're ready.
Bill met a girl.
Yay!
Oh, and she didn't like him.
Bill took that as a challenge to win her over.
Yay!
Oh, but that just wasn't going to work.
Bill thought there were plenty of other fish in the sea.
Yay!
It's not Starkist. Come on, this is not Starkist.
So Bill went fishing.
Yay!
And what was he? Was he fishing for fish or tires?
Excellent, cool. So we're gonna pause right there real quick.
I threw
We're
that
gonna
one too.
switch. That was absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Deb, you're fine. You got this. You're great. So we're gonna switch. So now, Deb, we're gonna give you the easy part. Deb, you're gonna do the A's, and we're gonna make Dave do the boos. All right. So here we go, Deb. Whenever you're ready, you can keep telling your story. You know what? Let's mix it up, friends. Let's mix it up. Let's do a story about Sally. Sally. Any story about somebody named Sally? Okay, Deb, you take it over with yay whenever you'd like.
Oh, our friend Sally from Toastmasters had an imaginary dog food dish by her door.
Yay!
Postman thought it was mail and took it away.
But then Sally got it back and she turned on the recording of the dog.
Yay!
But the dog, he had fleas.
But the imaginary recorded dog with the fleas was a great watchdog.
Yay!
But Sally's house got robbed anyway.
Yes. Oh, but it was only money.
But money was all she had.
Time to liquidate those assets, Sally.
Yay!
But nobody wanted to buy them.
Oh!
All right, we'll stop right there before poor Sally. Yeah, it's a terrible time for Sally. Oh, friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I think, to my understanding, we're going to take a bio break for a few minutes. I'm going to let Scott take back over, but thank you so much for joining me today. And again, please feel free to reach out anytime. Love to talk with you. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, give it up for Pat Dwyer. Give it up for Pat tonight. How are you having fun this evening?
Yes, that was fun.
Yes.
Outstanding. Did we learn a little bit tonight?
Yes.
Do we now
Yeah.
have something to hold over all of our Toastmasters friends the next time we see them?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Poor Sally and Bill. Oh my goodness. Pat, thank you so much for coming tonight. That was such an amazing evening. What a fun time this was.